Welcome to this live broadcasted interview with Jonathan Royce, CEO at Bioworks Technologies, regarding the restructuring program announced yesterday. Hello and welcome, Jonathan.
Hello, thanks for having me today. It's nice to be here.
Nice to have you. Well, how should one interpret the restructuring measures that you announced yesterday? Are there a reaction to weaker demand environment or something else?
Yeah, yesterday we announced what we called in our press release a restructuring program, and I think perhaps that word was a bit of an unfortunate choice. What this really has been an initiative to streamline our organization and focus our resources, specifically personnel resources, on the ongoing activities we have in the company, which we believe are most critical to achieving our goal of profitability next year. Restructuring maybe sometimes is often used to describe companies that see trouble on the horizon. I think in this case, this is really a proactive measure that we're taking in order to, again, really focus on those things that we think are going to be most critical to achieving our goal.
Yeah, but many companies have mentioned weaker demand in the biopharma space, especially from smaller and early stage development companies. How would you describe the situation currently? Has it gotten worse progressively during the spring?
Well, I think that the interest in Bioworks products remains strong. We see much interest on the market still for alternative suppliers of chromatography resins. But I think in general, it is fair to say that we hear from our peers that there is a general sort of weakening in the market right now. We are not really affected by things like companies that are drawing down on inventory, as we have not been in a position where our customers are carrying large inventories of our products. But we do want to be cautious, and we need to stay ahead of the game in terms of making sure that if there is a weakened demand for our products, that we are able to respond in a timely fashion. I think that especially during the spring, in the US, the fall of Silicon Valley Bank has shaken a lot of companies, and we see that many, especially small and middle-sized biotech companies, are really thinking quite carefully before they spend capital. Perhaps booking projects at contract manufacturers a bit more cautiously, and we want to make sure that, again, we can respond if we do see a weakened demand in the future.
Okay, the percentage cut to staff is fairly sizable, going from 52 to 40. Why this amount of people?
Well, I think there are several factors. So one is that we have decided to stop some activities within the company that have been internally driven with business cases that stretch out longer than next year. Specifically, we have decided to pause our development of a greener manufacturing technology for our products. We have come quite far in that development, and we feel that we're at a good spot to pause that development and be able to pick it back up once we do reach the point of profitability. We also have an internal development project that we have decided to pause to really, again, focus our resources on some of the things that we believe are going to be most critical to driving profitability. And specifically, those are our custom resin projects, which are customer collaborations where there's a paying customer standing behind that project, really driving the development and ultimately larger orders for those resins. We have not touched, by and large, our commercial organization. We have had a small reduction in the sales and marketing team, but relatively small. We also have not touched our production staff. We want to maintain our production capacity, and we do believe that our sales will continue to grow during this year, and that means we need to make sure that we stay ahead of that demand and have the ability to deliver those orders in a timely fashion.
Okay, but will this affect any of your ambitions in the US?
We have not made any changes in the US organization, and we still believe this year that the majority of the growth for Bioworks is going to come from the North American market.
What percentage of your sales are based in emerging biotech and CDMOs, respectively?
I don't have an exact number to answer that question, but it is fair to say that we've had a lot of success with CDMOs in the last year, and I think that we have heard from some of our CDMO collaborators that they've gone from a situation where they were booking projects out, in some cases up to a year forward, and now they're starting to see a somewhat weaker demand. In some cases, companies have capacity that they can use to produce. That said, the majority of our revenue last year and the majority of our revenue this year will come from our production customers, which are already up at larger scale. And I think in general, where biotech companies are generally going to prioritize their spend moving forward is going to be on things that have already made it into some sort of clinical manufacturing. Those projects are more of the risk has been removed from those projects as they've already entered some sort of clinical study. And so the larger volumes of resins that we're delivering to customers for production, I think, feel relatively safe. But again, I do think that it's a tougher market out there, and our sales team is saying that wins require more work right now. So I gave the analogy earlier today. If we were fishing, you could say, I think there's less fish in the pond, and it's more important than ever for us to make sure that we are in the right place at the right time and in front of our customers as much as possible.
All right, and you state that this cost cut will be shown in numbers already during the fall. When can we see the full effect?
Yeah, the cost-cutting measures are a combination of reduction in consultants, where we'll see a nearly immediate effect, and then also in some full-time staff. There it will take longer. We should start to see effects in the second half of this year, specifically in the third quarter, and in 2024 we expect to see a nearly full year effect.
All right, and one last question. Could you please give us an outlook of the rest of 2023?
Yeah, I think, as I said, I think there are some signs in the market that things are not as hot as they were a year ago, but I've been through this several times in my career. These are normally relatively short phases in this industry. Of course, the worst phase I've been through in my career was in 2008, when the entire global capital market nearly came to a screeching halt. And it was really, it took less than a year for the biotech and pharma industry to recover from that. So I expect that we will see a turnaround somewhere towards in the second half of this year, barring any sort of unforeseen events that might delay that return.
Thank you so much, Jonathan, for sharing this with us today, and please, best of luck going forward.
Thanks very much. Have a nice day.